And here we are. This is Stuka Joe from the 6th Bellota Con in Badajoz. Today is January 28th. It's the Saturday of the convention. There's also going to be more convention tomorrow. But today is like the thick of it. And we have another designer that we want to interview about an upcoming game by NAC Wargames. And this is Jesús Pérez Romero. Jesús, how are you doing? ¿Cómo estás?
Bien.
Okay, Jesús.
Very well, thank you.
We're going to talk about your design here. What's the name of your game?
Yes, you know the game because the last year you were here.
Yeah, I
I
interviewed
explained you the historical introduction.
Yes.
Yeah, it's the same. It's the very beginning of the Spanish Civil War. The African army have crossed the Strait of Gibraltar,
Okay.
and then they have to advance to Madrid.
So they're on their way to Madrid.
Yes,
1936. They
Exactly.
need to get there quickly, right?
Yes, for the rebels, Madrid was the main objective.
Yes.
For this reason, they decide to advance quickly, and they choose this way.
So they had to go through. Extremadura, right?
Exactly. This way is called Ruta de la Plata. That's join Sevilla in the south.
Okay. The south we see Sevilla. So they're moving from Sevilla in a northerly to the north, right?
To Mérida.
And they're aiming to Mérida, which you see up here in the upper part of the map.
The decision for this way is because in the left flank from the rebels
Yes.
is the border from the Portuguese border.
We're gonna have the Portuguese border here on the left side of the map.
So that is a secure flank.
So that's a secure flank for the nationalists. They
Yes.
don't have to worry about that because Portugal is neutral.
In the center of the advance was a very strongest Republican defense.
And to the right of the map, that would be the center, there would be a lot of Republican forces. So that's why you have those bars there in red, so that the Republicans can enter through those hexes, right?
Yes, they can enter for this.
Okay. So they're advancing in a northern direction. In a northern direction here. You got to worry about Republicans coming on this side. You don't have any problems here because the Portuguese are neutral. So what is the goal for the nationalists in the game?
Yeah, the goal for the national is gain victory points.
Okay. It's based on victory points, as you can see here.
Yeah, that's victory point are marked here on the map
Okay,
with this red number.
And we have on the map for each town, on each point,
The village or town.
village or town, you have a number of victory points. Okay.
Yes, but this victory point must be taken in the historical date.
Okay, so and that's the thing that called my attention last year, which I really liked, which is to get the number of victory points on the map, you have to capture the specific city or town on a given date or before. So if you leave it for last, it's not going to be worth the same number of victory points. Let's take an example here.
Yeah, for example here, look at this village, Los Santos de Maimona,
Los Santos de Maimona, yes, worth
must be taken
2 victory points.
on the second turn.
So you have to take Los Santos de Maimona, and you see it there on the calendar. It has to be taken by the second turn. So let's say that you take it on turn 1 or 2, you get the 2 victory points. But what
Exactly.
happens if you take it on turn 3?
If you take the objective before or in the date, in the historical date, you gain that 2 points.
Those 2
Otherwise, you halve it.
You only gain half of the points.
Yes.
And what happens when it's an odd number, like, for
3.
example, Safra?
In this case, is only 1.
Only
because
1, so you round down.
Always round down.
Round
exactly.
down. Okay, so that
Okay.
gives the nationalist player has the burden of the offensive. He cannot go comfortably by one. He has to push and push.
Push. Yes.
So that sounds great if you're the Republican player, but of course the Republican player has problems of his own, right?
Yes. The Republican players, most of the units are this counter.
So most of the units on the Republican side are unknown, actually, right? And they are known to the nationalists, but also to the Republican player, right?
Yes. The Republican players have this kind of counter. That means a garrison, but nobody knows
You don't know what it
which
is.
kind of unit are there. When the nationalists attack in the combat phase,
Yes.
you flip the counter,
And then you find out what it is, right? Once you flip it, now you know what it is.
yes,
And this particular unit, what kind of unit is it? This one is
yes, the particular is a militian,
militia,
socialist militian,
okay?
and he has a poor training. You can see that because this
Okay.
number in a white box.
That's the training, like the quality of the unit.
In comparison with the nationalists, they have a black number in a red box. That means that this unit is elite.
Okay, so the bottom unit is in a red box, it's an elite unit. And the unit in the white box is a poor quality
it's a
unit.
militia, yeah.
Okay, so
Green
that's
units.
what the color in the box means. Now, what does the number on that left-hand side mean? What does this number mean? The one. No,
The one is the combat strength.
Combat factor, okay.
Yeah, factor.
And this would be movement, I suppose.
Yeah,
huh?
and this is the movement,
Okay.
steps,
Number of steps. This
and
one.
this symbol is because this unit is like a remnant. You know, it's the rest of the.
This is a remnant of
Because
a
He belongs a big unit that is a battalion side.
part of a battalion-sized
but
unit
it's
where you have the
called,
NATO symbol there.
Bandera or tabor. Remember that name. It's the
In,
name.
in Spanish terminology, military terminology, these units are called banderas or tabor, which is more or less the functional equivalent of a battalion, right?
Yeah. Banderas is from the Spanish Legion,
Okay, but we use the
And-
term banderas for the Spanish Legion, which
and
is
tabor is from the Moors.
and the Moroccan troops were you use the term tabor. So you see here this Moroccan remnant here, and you see on this side a legionnaire, but both are elite, as signified by the red box on the left hand.
Exactly.
Okay,
The system is from activation in a cheat pool.
okay. So you activate units
By a
randomly.
system, yeah, randomly, except the first one.
Okay.
The player that gain the initiative can take the first cheat,
The first formation.
yes, information, and it's for free. It's not
Okay.
randomly. Sorry, it's not randomly. So you can decide
Okay.
who unit is in the vanguard or the.
So that's the effect of winning the initiative. You pick any formation, and that's going to be the first one, but afterwards it's randomly determined. And there's another particularity
Yes, it's a chain. Yeah.
that is a new, that you talked to me about, because you know what chits are going to be in the cup, but in this game there's no guarantee that a particular chit is going to be pulled. What happens there?
Sorry, repeat the.
Okay, there's not.
Spanish or.
Okay, what happens to the last chit in the cup?
The last cheat is randomly.
That one, the last one, el último que queda.
But this is after the turn.
Oh,
number
after
4.
turn 4.
Yes.
Oh, okay, we're not in turn 4 yet. Okay,
Yeah, in this case, in this moment,
Yes.
the last seat
never comes out.
Yeah, never comes out.
It's never played.
So that is really bad especially from the nationalist troops because they had to advance quickly.
Okay.
If you had one stop in the advance, it's really bad.
And you have if you have a formation that needs to advance and it happens to have the last chit in the cup, it doesn't move that turn.
Yes.
Okay.
When a cheat is on the map, they
Yes.
can move all the units with the same color.
With the
In
same
this
color
case,
code, yes.
Columna Asensio.
So here
We have a card because the player can decide if he play with the cheats or with the card, but it's the same system.
Okay, so you're going to have a choice of
Yes.
you're going to play with chits or the cards, but of course the cards have more information
Yeah,
than the
exactly.
chits. So you can
So-
see here the card that activates the Asensio column.
Yes, you
and
can move, combat, and
Yes.
rally phase.
And you
have three
see the
phase.
composition. It has a tabor of Moroccan troops and a bandera of legionnaires. You see there the composition. Okay.
Well, when you active a color, you can move all the yellow units in this case. Okay.
Okay.
Next, you go to the combat phase,
Yes.
and finally, the rally phase.
Okay.
Unit that is disorganized or disrupted, for example, or DMRL is like a full retreat, right?
So from disorganized they go to demoralized.
Yes.
And then
There are two steps. The
Okay.
first step is disorganized, and
Oh, I
the second step is full retreat.
so now it's worse. This step is worse than
Yes, well,
disorganized.
like this is in Spanish is desmoralizado.
Demoralizado,
No
demoralized.
moral.
Okay, and
Yes.
the other one is just disorganized.
In this case, the unit always retreat, always,
Always retreat.
until one activation for your associate color
Yes.
is activated. In this case, you can remove the disorganized or flip the full retreat to disorganized.
Okay, so I see how you. But if when you are rallying a unit, it's only one step. If it's demoralized, it goes down to disorganized.
Exactly.
And then on the next turn,
In
from
the next
disorganized.
no, in the next turn, when the activation.
Not the next turn.
Yes.
When the unit is activated, if it is activated, then its next activation, then you can
Yes,
do a
because,
rally
because,
and
yes,
the
in
rally.
this system, in the new system, when the last ship no play,
Yes. Then
it's possible that one unit don't move in one turn, because it's the last one, you cannot do
it
it.
doesn't move.
It's really bad for the nationalists
Yes.
because you cannot put this unit in good order,
Yes.
etc., etc.
Okay, so I see. So there's a lot of uncertainty first. It's a chit pull system, so you don't know what's going to be pulled out. And then secondly, there's always a chance that the formation that you need to move may not move at all during that turn. Okay. So in this game, what I see that it is at battalion level is the scale
Battalion level,
on the
and
nationalist
the
side.
remnants is like a company, less than a company, because
Okay.
yes, it's a group of remnant of troops. Okay.
So I see that the map you have here, like the road leading to the north, but also it appears that the nationalist player can also focus to the left and take some
Yes.
victory points in the direction of actually where we are physically in Badajoz, which is, let me see if I can point, Badajoz is over there. So I mean, if it all goes well for the nationalists, they can go in a straight line, but there may be a time that they may need more points, so they may want to spread out, which of course is risky, right? Because you're spreading your forces.
Historically, the nationalists advance for this way, but the
Yes.
player can decide to move in this way. It's no good idea because look at the victory point here,
You have an option to move, but
and
yes.
look at the victory point there.
And how much is Badajoz worth? Let me see in victory points. How much?
Yes, only 5,
Only 5.
and Merida is 10.
Merida is 10. Okay, I
It's
see.
10 if you take Merida in the historical
In
date,
the historical date, otherwise it's 5 if you take it
Otherwise
afterwards.
5, so it's really bad.
But the thing is, if you're the nationalist player and you are behind schedule,
right? Exactly.
then you may have to force yourself to go for these other points to compensate, but
Yeah, exactly. It's a new strategy,
and
but the
you're
best way
spreading
is
out, weakening
Yes.
your advance, and then that you're giving the Republicans a chance. Now the Republicans, there's all kinds of units and factions in there, right?
Yes, and there are a lot of factions.
You,
There are
you have some
communists.
regular units. That,
Yes, they have
okay.
some regular units because in Badajoz was a regiment, the Castilla regiment.
Okay, so
They are infantry. There
Okay.
are a lot of security units like carabineros, Guardia
Carabineers,
Civil.
those are the customs officers, the carabineros.
Yes, exactly. Guardia
So
Civil is like
Guardia
policemen.
Civil, Civil Guard, which is equivalent of
Guardia de
police units.
Asalto.
But they're not really army units. They are, civil units. So they're not very strong when you compare with the
Yes,
regular
compared with the-
Republican army.
yes, exactly.
And then you have militias. You have anarchists.
Anarchists, there are different militias, there are communists, for
You have
example.
communists,
There
anarchists.
are anarchists. CNT was the main political
CNT,
faction.
which is Confederación Nacional del Trabajo.
Exactly.
These are one type of anarchists.
Yeah. One type of
In Spain, there was various types of anarchists.
Yeah, they are different.
And I've heard that anarchists, that sometimes they, when it was necessary to attack, they held elections to see if we attack or not. And so,
exactly.
You can imagine, you can't rely on them too much.
There are different communist factions like POM.
Okay, you got the POM.
And this is like farmer, the Mauk.
Okay.
Different faction. I
The
think
POM, remember ¿qué significa POM?
POM es marxista, milicia comunista pero marxista.
Marxista, because as to the communists, there were various types of communists also. There were the Moscow-backed communists, and there were the Spanish communists that didn't like the instructions from Moscow also. So you have all kinds of factions and sub-factions within each faction. And now can you attack with different faction units in the same hex and all that?
You can attack with different factions. The only problem is there are new rules, you don't know that rule, that when the leader, there are several leaders like Yahweh was the commander from the national units.
Okay.
Or Puigdegola, the Colonel Puigdegola was the commander from the Republican.
Yeah.
If they are on the map, they can coordinate different units.
They can coordinate.
They can coordinate.
So that's good for the nationalists. If you have Yahweh
for the national and Puigdengola from the Republicans.
What's his name?
Puigdengolas.
Puigdengolas. If you have the Puigdengolas card, you can coordinate actions for the Republicans. Okay.
This guy.
Oh, here he is. Okay.
Yes, but they are a negative modifier for the Republican because the militian was no good fighter.
Okay, so
for this reason they had a negative modifier.
So it's with the Republicans. You have the great possibility if the units are of different kinds of units, you're going to get a negative modifier because they simply they're different. They don't necessarily get along well with each other, and that's reflected in the game. Okay.
The nationalist is professional troop, so for them, it's easy to coordinate. Okay, they have no negative modifier.
Okay.
Okay, there are different cheats like air support.
We have air support.
Yes, there are support. There are events, different events.
So remember, when you see these cards, they are, even though these physically are cards, think of them as chits. It's just that the game gives you the option of pulling cards. I suppose it's from a deck, and you pull a card like if it was a chit. And the good thing about the card, obviously, is you have the advantage that all the instructions are in the card, like you see here. Because if you pull a chit, and nothing else, you have to probably look into a book or something. But this has the convenience, the card format, that everything you need to know is in the card. Okay, so I see you have apoyo aéreo, that's air support. You have activations of various units. You see here this bandera, the first bandera of the Legión. The other one, what we saw was the yellow one was the second.
Asensio.
Oh, the Columna Asensio.
Yeah, this is a column. There are two battalions, but this car is only one battalion.
Only one battalion here. So the Columna has two battalions. Okay. And you see here in this card, it tells you what the composition is. You have 3 companies of legionnaires and 1 company of Hotchkiss machine guns.
Yeah, the most important thing in this game, you can see that there are a big map with no many counters, no many units. Oh. That's real.
Okay.
In this kind of war, was called Guerra de Columnas. There were
that's the phase of the war. The beginning of the war was a war of columns.
Yes.
So it was very lightly organized units with not a lot of cohesion and formation. So that's the war. If you play a game from 1937 onwards, then you see that each of the sites has formed more into discrete military units. Now, let's answer some questions here that we have from our viewers. And New York Raider fan asked, will this be published in English? Well, this is for NAC games, right? NAC War Games.
NAC War Games.
And NAC War Games always will publish the game in English. So the answer is yes there. Let me see if we have some more questions here. We have a question about the question mark counters. The need to push forward for the nationalists will create a lot of tension and fun. Yes, that is correct. Already like the game. Okay, that's J Field. You like this game? Great. Okay. And even though this is not, Dracuidas has another Spanish Civil War game, Help Arrives, but that's a tactical game. And so that appears that he started his interest in Spanish Civil War by the Draco game, so that's good. The Spanish Civil War is a fascinating subject which is hardly ever covered in the United States. Okay, so New York Raider fan likes the mechanic. And we have here Carlos Videira. How you doing, Carlos? Okay, so, and New York Raider fan giving us good morning. Well, good morning over there, and good afternoon here, New York Raider fan. So let's continue here. Yes, it will be published in English and Spanish. Yes, sir. Okay. Yes, the machine gun should be Hotchkiss. I should have said Hotchkiss machine gun on the card, and yes, by the time it is published, you're going to have it correctly spelled everywhere. This is, remember, this is a prototype, right?
Yes, this is a prototype.
It's a prototype, units, but I like the concepts of remnants with the depiction of the soldier, and then when the unit is in its full formation, you have the NATO symbol, because it's easy for the eye to see, and you don't have to look into a lot. So,
I'm going to explain why.
Okay.
The point is, when the unit is a NATO symbol, it's a big unit, you can combine different units. But when it's a remnant, because there are a lot of factions, you have to represent it with this kind of symbols, you know, because otherwise I have to use different colors, should be a mess, you know. So I prefer in this moment to represent here in this way.
No, I think
in the future, I don't know if the guy who make the art change the coder, or I don't know.
And I mean, there's for example, this unit will be on the map like this, right? Face up. Because I mean, first it's a nationalist unit. It's on the Republican side that you have this situation with the unknown units.
But there are several big units in the Republican side.
And let me see, is this one of the unknown units? No, this is one of the units that are face up on the map, right?
When this unit lost one step, he become the symbol is marked. So this unit, the remnant, should be this guy. Okay,
so you see the symbol on the top left corner tells you to which type of unit belongs. So when that formation, the full counter is reduced, then you bring in the remnant.
The pawn when.
And here you have the pawn.
Three-step unit when they lose.
A three-step unit. The first step you flip it.
The first step you flip, and you can see two steps. And the final step is a remnant.
And then the third, the next hit, then it becomes a remnant. Okay.
Okay, this is, in my idea, this is a series from an operational system from the Spanish Civil War.
Oh, so this is a system that you've designed that if everything goes well, and I hope so, you will be then taking other campaigns.
That's my idea.
And using the system.
We are working in the next battle was Battle of the Jarama. Do you know?
Oh, the Jarama, yes, I know the Jarama, yes.
We are working in this idea with the same system, almost the same system. Okay, normally so we have to change.
Of course, there's always going to be changes that you have to make to accommodate for the different historical events. So we have the information that we see on the map. I see also that we have this aircraft symbol here for the nationalists. So I suppose this represents their air assets, right?
Yeah, but this symbol is not correct now because this is the old version.
Okay.
So it's a prototype. I have to remove.
So that won't be in the final version. Okay, fine.
In this case, yes.
But you have the other information that you have here. For example, we saw the victory point track. Of course, if it ends at 14 or less,
victory from the Republican side.
Victory for the Republicans.
Victory
25 or more to the nationalists, and here it's a tie, right? A draw. Okay. You have the turn record track, and you have the when the deadline for the nationalists to capture the different towns and villages in order to gain the full amount of victory points. Then you also have a table of replacements. So, and apparently there's some uncertainty there. You roll a die to see if you receive replacements at all. For example, when do you roll here?
Yes, when the replacement, you can see here in the town record track.
Oh, I see. Okay, let's show the viewers. Let's see here in turn 9, it says that it's replacement time.
Yes, you can see it's so easy from the Republican side to take replacement.
Now, the Republicans have a big chance of taking replacement, so it can be one militia step and one replacement step of regular infantry and or security troops.
Yes.
Okay, so those are good. So you have actually a 5 and 6 chance of getting something.
That means that the Republican side was really poor units.
Yeah.
Really poor units.
I mean,
so
there's a lot
easy.
of more units, but they're poor quality. And then on the nationalist side,
it's so difficult to.
You got a 2 and 6 chance of getting one replacement step of legionnaires or regulars. Okay, so something to have in mind for both players. And then I see here the table of the recruitment table.
Yes, when the national side take a city, a town, a location, a village, they have to put here a garrison.
When they capture
when they capture one.
Oh, okay, so for example, when the nationalists.
For example, here when take Santo de Maimona, remember.
Let's go back to this town here.
Really,
it's
an important point in the game because the national side must to be here garrison.
And it makes sense because you are going through hostile territory. These people are not necessarily friendly to you, so you have to protect that supply line.
Yes, you have to protect for the supply line, and because the loyal, the Republican, can retake the.
Okay, they can retake these cities and villages.
They are only to move this and retake the unit. That means that they can fly. Okay.
So does the game obligate the nationalists to leave something there, or it's just something that you should do in order to have a chance of winning?
So they recruit people in the area.
Oh, I see.
Like phalangists, this kind, another faction.
I see. So it's
a national militia, phalangistas.
So the nationalists are recruiting people in the area, right? The nationalists are recruiting people in this area.
That. And you can see this in this table. You roll the dice, roll the dice.
Oh, this is so cool. Yes. Because now you have the nationalist militia coming in, but they come in this particular scenario when they're occupying territory and they're looking for their people. Remember the Spanish Civil War, in all places in Spain, there were people sympathetic to one side and people sympathetic for the other. So when the nationalists occupied a town, all the people friendly to the nationalists, and then you have there the phalangists, right?
Yes, phalangists and requetes.
And you have requetes also. Yes. And you have a possibility of Guardia Civil, civil guards coming out. And that represents the local police, that you have a part of the local police which is friendly to the nationalists coming out and say, hey, we're with you guys. Okay?
I'm going to explain this point in Spanish, okay?
Sí, no hay problema, hacemos la traducción. Okay.
Cuando los comités de defensa que estaban aquí, de la facción que fueran, ¿vale? Cuando reclutaban gente de izquierdas y a los derechistas los metían en la cárcel o los fusilaban o huían.
When the committees of defense of the Republicans, friendly to the Republicans, would seize a town, they would imprison people associated to the right or execute them.
Yes.
Exacto. ¿Y qué pasa? ¿Y qué más?
Cuando estos son expulsados de la ciudad, del pueblo, empieza el reclutamiento y esos derechistas que estaban en la cárcel o gente que vuelve son los que tienen que proteger, son unidades de muy mala calidad, pero por lo menos pueden proteger ese sector.
So when the units when the militias and friendly to the Republican abandon the town, then the people in jail, the sympathetic to the right, would be freed, and then those people would be used as militia in order to garrison these towns and, of course, protect the supply line of the advancing nationalist army.
Además eran facciones políticas que hacían grande represión.
And there was a lot of repression. I know, for example, let me just put, for example, the camera here in Badajoz. I know that in Badajoz they executed a lot of people here in Badajoz.
A lot of people, yes.
A lot of people, and it was it that I don't remember who executed, but was it the Republicans that executed nationalists or right-handers, or the other way around?
Lo que dices de la ejecución que hubo aquí fueron tanto milicianos como militares que eran leales a la República.
Okay.
Cuando Yagüe entró, se
when
dedicó
the
a
nationalists
ejecutar a todo
entered
el mundo.
Badajoz, Yagüe, they took people, militia and people sympathetic to the Republic, and that can be from, you can talk, those can be members of the Communist Party, Socialist Party. It could be somebody who is in a, en una logia masónica. The Masons, they would just put them on front of a wall and shoot at them. And so that was a reality in the war. But here you see a mechanic that simply and elegantly reflects the change of power in one of these towns and the effect that it had in the and the people who were in prison and the people that were hiding would come out, and then and now they serve as militia. They're militarily significant in the game, so much that they can serve to protect the garrison, the supply lines, and the town. So I think it's a very elegant way of simulating something that was, I mean, this was real all across Spain. This is not just typical of this area. This happened all across Spain.
Lo que comentábamos de la matanza, a la columna de Yagüe se le llamó la columna de la muerte.
Okay, the Yagüe's column, and that we have Yagüe here. He was one of Franco's favorite generals here.
Yes.
It was the column of death. It was known as the column of death. So they executed a lot of people, and especially here in Badajoz. So something, you know, it's you know, history. It's a lot of bad things, sometimes some good things, but that's how it is reflected in the game. And I really like the way that you have reflected it, because it's not a complex mechanic. It makes a lot of sense, and it also introduces uncertainty. You don't know which units are going to pop out. You don't know if you're going to be able to take replacements. So there's a lot of uncertainty, and it looks.
And the combat system is so easy. Combat system is a typical.
Okay, let's talk about the combat system.
How does it work? Combat. First, I'm going to explain one example, right?
Okay.
It's much better. Yes.
I have a question by Alan Salazar, one of my hardcore subscribers here. What research did you conduct for the game? What research, investigación? ¿Tú investigaste sobre la campaña?
He leído 2 libros y he hablado con gente de la universidad que me comentaban algunas cosillas sobre todo para órdenes de batalla, etcétera, etcétera.
And he consulted order of battles. He's read books. Also consulted with people on the campaign. Now this is a game. Then when you think about it, it's historically there was a really fast advance, but here, from what was really a pushover that they advanced, here you have a possible situation where you can interrupt the advance of the Army of Africa to Madrid, and all that it would entail. It would have to entail, you know, that your Republican troops fight well, that the militias are good, are at least decent. Decent.
Yeah, it was very bad.
So I think it's an interesting game on what was historically a sweeping advance up this corridor. The nationalists advanced really quick to Merida here, but you have this situation that it can turn into a very interesting sort of falling back campaign or retreat, and I mean, it depends on the performance of the Republican forces. Okay, estaba diciendo del sistema de combate, the combat system.
Yes, combat system. Bueno, lo que decíamos antes que este tipo de combate refleja lo que hablamos antes, la guerra de columnas, que no se puede establecer un frente, una línea con dos bandos diferenciados.
Yes, during the period known as the War of the Columns, there were no fronts. It was all, the columns were all advancing independently, so that you have to take that in mind. There's no continuous front. Come on.
Okay, I'm going to explain the combat system. It's really easy.
The combat system.
Yes. There are several factors.
Yes.
Combat strength, that's 6, and you can compare the factor of the combat
factor of the
with the
attacker.
factor with the defender, right? In this case, 6, and they have 2.
6 to 2.
Okay, there are really several modifiers. For example, the quality of this troop, that is red. Okay, that is a mistake from the printer.
It should be a red 6.
Should be red. Yeah.
So that means it's an elite troop, right?
That means,
it's a +1.
for example, here you can see the combat table. Okay, 6-2 should be a 3-1, right?
3 to 1.
3-1 in the column.
There you have it.
The nationalists gain one
column shift to the right
because the elite quality for the quality.
Because they're better than. It's because they're elite. Okay.
Yes, they're elite. Okay. So yeah, you.
Are there any elite units on the Republican side?
No.
No elite units.
Yes, in the beginning of the war.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, just checking because in other campaigns they made.
Yes, probably the international brigades. Probably I'm thinking about the. I don't know, the Lincoln Battalion of the British was really good fighter.
Yeah,
in this case, I can try to prove. Yeah, okay.
But not in this one. In this one, Republicans are either poor or just.
So you roll the dice. You the effect of the dice is here. You retire, advance, etc., etc.
You got retreats and losing steps and that sort of thing.
Yes.
Okay.
It's the normal
so
system.
It's a combat system that everybody is familiar with. It's step reduction. It's odd-based, and you have column shifts for certain things, including the use of elite troops. Okay.
Okay, and that is all. This is I think we have 85% of the rules finished.
The rules finished, great.
But I had to play testing the game.
Okay.
And that is all.
No, I told you I like the concept because it's, and I want to congratulate you because you're one of the few hex encounter games that are being made in Spain, because I know that here there's a big influx of Euro games in Spain, and you see it in the designs, and there's nothing wrong with that because that's something new. But you have hex encounter game about a campaign that I haven't seen. Do you know of any other game that portrays this campaign? I haven't seen any.
Well, Hell Arrives.
Yeah, but that's a tactical game.
It's a tactical game.
No, but I'm saying on the operational scale like this. I haven't seen any game. So
the operational system, I can remember.
So and this is a system, and if you continue after this and you do more of these, there's a lot of games you can do on the Spanish Civil War with these advances, especially at the beginning with the column, and then you can probably do games on La Batalla del Ebro, stuff like that also.
The next one probably should be Jarama.
Jarama will be the next one.
I have a lot of information.
So we have some other questions here. We got Miguel is asking, is it under development? It's under development, the game, right? Currently. El juego está desarrollándose, está en playtesting. So these components are not final.
It's not final.
And you can, if you want to help out and get this game published quicker, está en el P500, ¿verdad?
Yes.
It's in the P500 for NAC Wargames. So you go to NAC Wargames website and you can enroll in the P500. It's going to be available in English and in Spanish. So we have now viewers that speak Spanish and or English, but it's going to be available in either of these languages. And we got William here. He says it's interesting that the liberal socialist anarchists, along with those seeking Basque or Catalonian autonomy who supported the Spanish Republic, were not as coordinated. No, they were not coordinated at all. The Republican side had that problem, multiple factions, and they had sometimes a civil war going inside their own side. The Republicans, I think in Barcelona was it that they had in some place en la República hubo como guerras civiles entre ellos mismos. They had so much infighting that they sometimes fired at each other. And of course, in this game, what is reflected in this game, lo que está reflejado en este juego, you're reflecting the poor quality of the troops and the fact that they're going to be penalized if they're fighting together. Si están peleando juntos, pues va a haber una penalidad por eso. Which obviously the nationalist side, el lado nacional, no tenía ese problema, ¿no? Especialmente eran tropas profesionales.
Troops and experimentadas en combate, venían de África.
They were troops that had been fighting in Africa for years, and so they experimented. They're very troops that were actually elite compared to anything that was here in the peninsula. Okay, so Jay Field likes the game. He wants to thank us. Nos da las gracias, Jay Field, por la explicación.
De nada.
Okay, the name of the game is Badajoz 1936. I'm going to put it here.
You can
There
take
it is.
this photo is much.
So here you see Badajoz 1936, and you can find it in NAC War Games P500. Badajoz, it's the same name as the town where we are in here. Yes, and Miguel has it right here, Badajoz 1936. So let me see, we have a lot of comments. I have to. And New York Raider fan dice que le encanta cuando los diseñadores incorporan y eventos históricos en las reglas. Okay, so in the rules. So yes, that's.
There are a lot of events. There are more events, but I can't show all of them. Yeah,
okay, there's more events by the cards, and remember the cards again are chits. They're just using cards.
You can't choose.
You can choose, but when you're pulling a card, it's a chit pull mechanic. So it's you don't have a hand of cards. You're just pulling a card, and it acts like a chit, which is cool. I think cards. Yo pienso que las cartas tienen tantísimos usos, no solamente como cartas en una mano, sino este es otro uso.
Es otro uso que la gente
muy inteligente de las cartas, ¿ves? Y le reduce. This reduces the players' interruptions, las interrupciones. Oh, let's go now to the playbook. A ver what is the effect on this? Okay.
Yeah,
so we have
but you know, some people prefer the cheat system.
Y Alberto García dice que desde que vi este juego, since I saw this game, lo estoy esperando. I'm waiting for it. Espero more modules. He wants more models with other battles, con más batallas de la guerra civil.
Yes.
Okay, great.
It depends on the people. If the people support the.
It depends of the support of guests, I guess. But let's go one by one and let's support Badajoz 1936. So Robert gives it a thumbs up. And let me see, here we have William asks si las mecánicas del juego permiten un resultado de 50%. Let me see. A 50-50 outcome of the game. Hay un resultado como de exchange, donde ambos lados pierden.
No, en este juego no lo he hecho.
No, this game, either the defender is going to lose a step or retreat, or the attacker loses.
In the future games,
yes.
Probably I will be that, because in this game it's difficult because the Legion and the Moroccan soldier was really good. Okay. So you cannot eliminate a really good unit.
¿Dónde que está la tabla de combate otra vez para verla? Let's take a look at the combat table again. We'll take a. So that you
in the beginning of the development.
Let's see all the possible results. Por ejemplo, A1.
Attacker
loses a step.
Yeah, but look at it's 1-3.
Yes.
It's not a good idea to attack this.
Yeah, but let's suppose you get an A1. He loses a step. Does he have to retreat too? Or
No, retreat. The attacker never retires.
Never retreats. Okay, he loses a step. Here, the
disrupted, disorganized.
Who's disorganized here? The defender is disorganized.
The defender
retreats.
Defender retreats one step. In this case, when it's only 1x, the unit that retreat not become disrupted. Okay.
Okay. The unit does not become disrupted.
When it's 2 or 3 or more, they become disrupted.
Okay. The camera went. Okay. Let me go get. Just a second, guys. Let me get this working again. La otra cámara se me. Okay. So let's get you in picture again. Okay. So we're looking here at. Okay. Okay, at the combat results table. And se me frizó la tabla un momentito. Let's go back here. Okay. Just 1 second, guys. I'll be right back. Okay. Okay, and no tengo ninguna cámara por algún motivo. Vamos a ver.
No, tampoco queda mucho que hablar ya está dicho todo.
Sí, I think everything has been said, but vamos a ver si terminamos. Si la cámara quiere regresar a nosotros aquí. Bueno, por alguna razón, we have a frozen camera. Let me take William out here. So we have this, at least you can see here the combat results table. We can finish with the combat results table. This is a frozen image. So vemos los resultados que están ahí. There's no exchanges. So those are the results that you can see in the combat results table. So we're gonna finish it here. Jesús, te quiero dar las gracias por la explicación. Thank you for giving us the demonstration of Badajoz 1936. And I hope, yo espero que tenga más personas que lo apoyen en el P500. Give it its support in the P500 so it gets published soon, okay?
Thank you.
Muchísimas gracias, Jesús. Para mí es un placer.
Y para mí también, como siempre.
Ok, cómo no. Gracias. Y